Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 6, and today we're taking a look at the 1973 Holden HQ Monaro GTS 350. Bit of a mouthful there. Yeah, just before we get properly started, I'll just say I like this car, but unfortunately I don't love it like, say, the Toronto A96 by Holden themselves. And yeah, there's one big reason for that, and that's down to the engine. Now, it's a sizable engine, 5.7 litres, and it's obviously going to be a V8. And out of context of competition and other areas, it does have a decent amount of power, 275 horsepower and 360 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty decent, but compared to the competition of the time, specifically the year that this came out, it's way down on power. The 1973 Pontiac Trans Am Firebird, for instance, has 97 horsepower more than this, and 120 foot-pounds of torque more as well. And that's a big difference. And yes, this car does weigh about 500 pounds less than that Firebird, but it's still not enough to offset that deficit of power. And as a result, this is a lot slower than that Pontiac. This, for instance, will do 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds. The Pontiac will do it in 1.5 seconds quicker than that. And 0 to 100 is even worse. 16 seconds for this Holden. For the Pontiac, 12.8. So yeah, it's not really that good at all in terms of straight line speed, which is kind of against the fact that it is a muscle car, really. Muscle car is primarily about straight line speed. And it's even worse in terms of top speed as well, because this will do 136 miles per hour and the Firebird will do 154. So yeah, big flaw with this is the fact that it's way down on power in comparison to another car. And another thing is, I'm not that big of a fan of the looks. I like the decal where the 350 is. I like the badges GTS on the side and in the grille. I like those slits. I like the slightly wraparound rear window, but compared to the A9X, it's just a bit plain and a bit too American. There's no separation between. You wouldn't know this was an Australian car compared to, say, a Chevelle or anything like that. You'd think it was an American car, quite frankly, if you didn't know it was a Holden. Unlike the A9X, which doesn't look like anything at that time, and this just looks like a Pontiac or a Chevelle, and yeah, it's just a bit boring in terms of looks. But like I said, I do like it, and yeah, we'll take this onto the track and we'll talk through it a bit more when we get there. Alright, Road Atlanta Club Circuit, we'll take it round on the first lap and then we'll talk through it on the second lap. So yeah, like I said, I do like this car. It has its charms, and it's not awful to drive or anything like that. So yeah, but I just wish it had a bit more power going for it. And yeah, it is decently light, so it's not bogged down by any kind of weight, so at least the amount of power that it does have isn't entirely wasted. but it's still heavier than the likes of Falcon, which had about 25 horsepower more than this. I think 20 foot-pounds of torque more than this as well. So yeah, and that's another car that came out in 1973 as well. Yeah, I do like it, and I guess the fact that it feels a bit American is kind of driven home by the fact that its engine is American as well. It's a Chevrolet import engine. I think it's from the Camaro. And yeah, just lacks that kind of uniqueness that I would have liked. But that's not exactly harmed the resale value of these cars, because they go for up to 100,000 Australian dollars, which is a hell of a lot of money for a car like this. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.